All right, buddy. All right, everybody. Pull up a chair. It's Arsenal Fan Circle. Trying to go too fast here, Alonso, making up for lost time. You're all welcome here. Listen, the next interlull, the next international break is upon us. And it was very, very important yesterday to get all 3 points, especially with Liverpool coming through against Crystal Palace and getting the win. At the time, Man City were drawing and Arsenal were drawing. Alonso was starting to get just a little bit nervous around the 55-minute mark, and then got a little bit more nervous when they scored around the 54-minute mark.
Yeah, I think for some reason, Southampton always give Arsenal problems when they shouldn't, and I think Arteta kind of overlooks their opponent at times, especially the ones that are not towards the bottom, or towards the bottom rather.
Yeah.
I think Leicester kind of last weekend had us nervous as well at some time of the match, especially towards the second half. And then yesterday you had Southampton in the second half play better than us, I guess. And even towards the first half, they were really getting on our nerves as supporters watching the game, because whoever the commentators were yesterday, it seems like they were bang on whenever they said if it was 0-0 at halftime, then Southampton would be up for it, and they were. When they were the goal scored by their striker, I heard the name already, Chris something.
Archer,
right. Here's another to at least do his best against Arsenal in the past. I think he was with Norwich, right? Was he with Norwich?
I'm not sure about him. Norwich.
But yeah, anyway, and in the past he's given our best against us, and for play to them, they scored. I think our defense was kind of asleep. But yeah, they made it tough on Arsenal in the second half as well, and we were able to overcome that. And in the past, I think we would have given up, but this is a different team. Last year, I think they overcame a lot of adversity and didn't give up and won the game eventually.
Yeah, listen, you covered a lot of points I've got in my notes here. Southampton they've been a significant club in the time that Mikel Arteta has been there. We've won games that have been significant. I remember the one that turned the corner. It's actually in the All or Nothing documentary where we beat them 3-0. Playing out from the back at the time, on the back of some poor results. We know, I think probably 2 seasons ago, the draw away from home, where there was a seagull on the pitch that seemed to maybe distract Ramsdale, or 1-1. We were going well at that time. I think it was leading up to the World Cup. We're going well, and we won a number of games, but we dropped points there. And we obviously, Alonso, we remember that 3-3 game around about the time that Man City took us apart as well at 4-1 at the Etihad, but 3-3 leading up to that. And, our heads really dropped then. That was when we had, not to dig out some players, but, Rob Holding was part of that crew. And we've significantly improved since then. Since that time, Southampton have gone down to the championship and come back up. And look, I think Aaron Ramsdale has made the move to Southampton. Alonso has finally got Tony locked up somewhere. Yeah, he's sleeping. He's sleeping somewhere.
I think it probably took too much puffs last night and ended up.
Yeah. Luca in the chat, thanks for being here. But I'm just not going to drop a link to just anybody. I'm quite selective about it. And Alonso should feel happy and privileged about this. Quite selective about who we bring on the podcast as well. Yeah, Tony included. So yeah, you got to be here on time, and we gotta. There's been I watched a lot of podcasts where people have come on and they've been they joined, and it hasn't really been the best of situations. So that's the deal. Yeah, with Southampton to come back, and Aaron Ramsdale has landed at Southampton, I think he's going to be busy this season. Alonso is going to get a lot of practice.
Yeah, in a way, I feel kind of like Aaron Ramsdale kind of needed to have gone, but at the same time, I wish him well. I think, once a winner, always a winner, as they say. And
Yep.
I think the fans still appreciate what he did for Arsenal. Don't forget. And I think, there's some young kids out there that still look at him as a role model. And so, but just, I wish he would go to someplace else where he would have succeeded. I think Southampton, I think, is a step backwards for him. But if they do get promoted, if they do stay up, it'll be because of him. Unfortunately, this day and age, you got to have a lot of backing financially. I think with a team like Southampton, they're kind of not going to spend a lot of money. They're going to depend on their defense to win their games. And, I think Ramsdale kind of knew that. I think you saw kind of a hint of him leaving whenever he got dressed up as Haggard in the FA Cup final. Or no, excuse me, it was the promotion to get promoted, and he was in the audience of Haggard. So there's a kind of suspicion on where he was going to go as far as Southampton is concerned. But, I think he contributed a lot to Arsenal the time he was here.
Yeah, he definitely did. Listen, we're I'm not Mikel Arteta. It's not Mikel Arteta FC, but I do recognize that the manager has been hugely important to where we come from. By the same degree, it's not Ramsdale FC, but you do recognize, we want to applaud what Ramsdale did for Arsenal in the last couple of years that he's been with us. I think Alonso, that Ramsdale didn't have much choice as to where he was going to go in the Premier League and where he was going to play, but he did want to play and not sit on the bench, and we had no choice but to let him go. If they get relegated, and even if they don't get relegated, he's probably there for one season with Southampton, and he'll find a really, really good mid-table club to join. So, Stan, welcome. We're just talking a little bit about Aaron Ramsdale and his situation right now.
Yeah, good morning, Ray. Good morning, Alonso. And good morning to everyone in the chat. It was nice to see him, but I mean, he's no longer an Arsenal player anymore. So for me, I don't really focus too much on what he's doing. I'm more concerned about what our keeper is doing.
Yeah, 100%. And we had this debate exactly 1 year ago when probably the big change was made, and we thought that David Raya would be the better goalkeeper, and it's been proven. There was a percentage difference, but it proved out throughout the full season that David Raya was the better keeper to go with. And anywhere where you're looking for tiny fractions to beat Manchester City, you have to take advantage of that, And Mikel Arteta did that. So let's talk about our goalkeeper. David Raya has been instrumental for the first 3-4 games of the season. I was talking about the way we're going to come up. We're coming off preseason, that we wouldn't hit the first 2-3 games in full stride. We needed David Raya to dig us out a little bit and get us out of trouble in a few games because we were not at 100%. But I think maybe we're starting to hit our stride now, Stan, in terms of the firepower. We did go a goal down, but we were able to overcome Southampton with 3 goals in the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, and with the David Raya situation, for me personally, I always find it, as good as he's been, I do find it overall concerning when you're goalkeeper is winning man of the matches, or being in the top 2 man of the matches in consecutive games like he has. So in an overall picture, that's worrying, right? Because it means he's having to do far much work than what we would like him to do. We'd like it to be quiet at the back. But, we have a goalkeeper that's shown us that he can save penalties. And for me, that's valuable. Mm-hmm. And I'm more than happy to have David Raya in between in the sticks for Arsenal.
Yeah. Yeah, so Alonso, a little bit about David Raya. We made the change from Aaron Ramsdale. What are your thoughts on it the last year, Alonso, the transition?
It was a big risk because David Raya came from Brentford, and Brentford weren't very good at that time. So it was a risk. And Ramsdale got us to Champions League, essentially, and also the second place.
Yeah.
He was also England's backup goalkeeper as well at that time. So, it was a wake-up call, I guess, for us fans that we may need someone better, but the club he was at wasn't as good as Arsenal. So, to me, it was like a big risk bringing in someone that wasn't used to being at that top level as Arsenal were. Being Ramsdale, he did make mistakes a lot of the time, and was very unfocused. And Ramsdale and Raya was as well at certain points last year, but I think he was just trying to get used to how we play. He didn't have a back four that he did Ramsdale did, and he didn't have a back four like he had at Brentford either. So there's still coming to adjustment time with Raya. And it took time for the fans also to get used to Raya as well. So it was kind of tough because I think a lot of people liked Ramsdale being a figure for shenanigans, I guess. So at the end of the day, it was a risk that paid off. But a lot of people didn't see it like that because it would be a risk that wouldn't have paid off, that would have cost us the league, essentially, at the time that we were trying to progress. So, it is what it is. I think that at the end of the day, I think Raya showed that he was a better goalkeeper. It just took a little bit of time to get used to that idea.
Yeah, and now we've got that full transition. Amazing how Raya has won over the Ramsdale fan club in 6 months. Yeah, listen, I think you ask Mikel Arteta, some sections of the fan base ask for ruthlessness. Be ruthless. And sometimes I hate when people generalize things. Maybe those fans didn't say keep Ramsdale, but a large percentage of them said, "What's the issue with goalkeeper here? Keep Ramsdale." And the Ramsdale crew stayed loyal to him for 9 months, but now they must see David Raya is the superior goalkeeper moving forward. Stan. Like yesterday's game, yeah. I have very few notes in the first half because nothing very much of note happened. We made 3 changes that I could see. Jorginho coming in, Raheem Sterling on the left wing starting, and of course Gabriel Jesus. And attack-wise, there was very little going on. We had a lot of the ball, but we didn't do very much with it.
Yeah, we also had Thomas Partey starting at right back when I saw that, gave me the horrors because, we have seen that before and it wasn't pretty to watch when we saw it before. But I thought he did pretty well yesterday. And look, I think with Southampton, they set themselves up differently yesterday to how they would normally play to accommodate Arsenal, which is right. They wanted us to have the ball as much as we wanted, and then we had to try and break through them. And I noticed that once they started to later on in the game make substitutions where they had to start looking for goals, and they brought players on and started to play a more open game, their more normal way of playing, then that led right into us. The changes that we made, we were able to then revert back and dominate them once they started playing their normal game. So it wasn't pretty to watch in the first half. And when we went down to 10 men against Man City and played in a defensive way, it was anti-football. But they came with 11 men and started playing that way from the first whistle. you know, and that was deemed to be a clever way of trying to handle Arsenal. So you can't keep all of the people happy all of the time in the way that you play, right? But at the end of the day, Southampton came to play that way to limit damage and try and get something out of the game. And it almost worked, right? I mean, they got that first goal, which kind of probably showed them to that point that what they were trying to do was working, and it was up to us to try and find a way to get around that.
Yeah, definitely. Alonso, they came with a plan, and you know, people are saying Arsenal playing at home. We're starting to leak some goals. It's slightly concerning. We conceded now 6 goals in 7 games, I think it is. 2 against Leicester. I'm willing to say the goals we conceded against Leicester one was a really, really good goal. Of course, you try to limit the opportunities, but it's a little bit concerning that we are conceding those goals, Alonso.
Yeah, and you know, I think you could blame, I guess, the tempo of the game. I've noticed that people are putting out Calafiori. I guess it takes time for him to adjust to the Premier League style of play. But you know, I think there's a lot of this commotion in midfield sometimes where we have, you know, all these players in one spot, and it leaves an open area on the flanks to be exposed. I think you're seeing that more so in Arsenal's defense when you don't have a healthy lineup. When you have, you know, Partey playing right back, like Stan said, he didn't have a bad game at all. I think that's what happens when you have players playing out of position and they're trying to do too much as far as defending areas they shouldn't. I saw a number of times where Calafiori was in the midfield area on the opposite side of the pitch, and he was like playing like how Zinchenko plays, and that kind of catches Gabriel Magalhaes to cover his opponent doing more than he should, I guess, and that leaves areas wide open in attack for Leicester last weekend, and then now Southampton, and it becomes a problem. You leave players exposed, and that's not good for Calafiori because, you know, he's a good defender. It's just he doesn't know where to defend, I guess.
Yeah. Listen, as much as we wanted that money to be spent on a forward, we as fans don't get that choice. The club goes ahead and buys a player. But I'm glad they bought a player of the quality of Calafiori. I'm happy with the quality that he gives us as well, especially going into midfield. Some of the cameos, some of the footage, the cameo footage from him was really good. The you know, where they put a compilation of things, we're watching a little bit of that. Partey, a right back, does always give us issues. Mikel does love a headache, but I think this is like something that Mikel has to push himself to do this season. And look, we got the win, so we can sit here and analyze it in a calm manner. But you need to play these players in your squad who are maybe on the bubble, on the edge a little bit, Stan. You know, Gabriel Jesus, he just hurts the eye. Everything he's trying to do he makes it look difficult. Jorginho is an adequate, really good player, and Raheem Sterling did okay without actually having an impact. So these are the players that you have to maybe sometimes rotate and rest the legs of other critical players who came in later.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's happening with Gabriel Jesus. I mean, the more I see of him, and I'm willing him for something good to happen for him, he's just somebody said there in the chat box. He's not very good on the eye at all at the moment, right. And I don't know what the answer is. I mean, for me, the answer is probably to try and move him out and get a replacement for him when we can. It might be difficult to do that in January, so we could be stuck with him until next season. But I just don't see. It doesn't look like he's able to find any kind of form. It's disappointing. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, you know, he's on a lot of money. He's on a lot of money at the club. He's one of the higher paid players, and he's just not contributing.
He looks like a player who knows he's not playing well, and he's trying to push it a little bit, force it a little bit as well, I think. Retro Rewind. Hey, guys, Ray, Alonso, and Stan. Yes, it is Ray indeed. Hope you're doing well. Jesus hasn't helped his cause. Arteta gave him a chance yesterday, which he didn't. He certainly did not make the most of. Michael's in the house. Thanks for being here, Michael. Also think Arteta has handled Sterling bad. He should have started him last week against Leicester. Yeah, listen, I think we're in a situation now where 90% of the squad is pretty decent quality that we can. There's one or two players that maybe not up to snuff right now that we can rotate with. And no matter what you do, it's a headache for the manager as well, because you would have wanted maybe Ethan Nwaneri to come in as well and keep going and give him some more minutes. But just have to trust what the manager's doing, I suppose. But yeah, Gabriel Jesus and Sterling especially. Sterling was okay without actually having a big impact in my mind. I liked how we dominated, but playing Jesus and Havertz is still a complete joke. Jesus and Zinni need to be sold. Be happy to get 60 million for both of them. Yeah, no, I think there was an interview yesterday. All right. I think, Alonso, you're going to dip out?
Yeah, guys. All right. See you guys soon. Take care, Ray.
Truex, is that the is the engines on? Martin Truex.
Yeah.
All right, Alonso.
Cheers.
Thanks. There was a comment here, Stan. I think when Odegaard comes back and we have Marino fit, we'll see a different side now. You know?
Well, yeah. When Martin Odegaard comes back, it's going to be interesting to see whether we go back to a similar formation that we were playing with him in the team, or whether we continue to playing in a similar way that we are, but he just changes players around. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and I feel like the way that we said there's no real replacement for Martin Odegaard, and we're starting to see that now in real time each week. You know, we have to play a slightly different formation. I don't really know what we played yesterday. I was thinking maybe it was a 3-4-3, you know, because Partey would basically go into midfield as well, you know, and have Saka, Jesus, and Sterling up front, where you have Rice and Jorginho in the middle, Havertz on the left, Partey on the right. It was definitely a fluid formation that we played, but we're having to do this. It's not a bad thing having to do it, but we're having to do it with Martin Odegaard out of the team.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very fluid side. I mean, a lot of the time, Declan Rice pops up on the left wing. You know, that's how fluid it is. You know, when you see the team lineup, you know, before the match, and you look at the formation on your phone, and you see what you know, the players that are playing. That's not necessarily how we go through the game.
Yeah.
You know?
Sometimes different, depending on what lineup you look at, you get a different read of what the formation is. You know, some people will put, say, like a 4-4-2 out. Others will say, well, no, it was a 4-3-3 or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how tactically good we have become. Looking at other results around the league, we're actually thankful. I'm actually thankful that we have, you know, our shit together, as it were, as a club.
No, I don't have a crystal ball, right? But I just think that with the amount of games that we've got to come, I think that we're gonna find ourselves getting into trouble at some point. Because I look at someone like Gabriel Jesus, and if, for example, if we did lose Kai Havertz to an injury or a suspension or what have you, you know, it's Gabriel Jesus is the one that's going to have to come in and pick up the slack. And every time Gabriel Jesus plays and he goes down, I think to myself, has he got himself injured? You know, we're managing. I feel like the way that we're playing at the moment, even though we're getting results, I feel like we've got masking tape over cracks. You know, and just managing to keep the water from coming into the hull. But if any more holes pop up, we may run out of masking tape to put over another hole. That's kind of where I feel that we are. I mean, I'm really pleased with what we're doing, where we are in the league, and how we managed to get results in light of having people like Mourinho not being able to join us until now, and having Odegaard out for some time. But I worry that long term, it's going to catch us up, because I just worry that in certain areas we don't have reinforcements. And if we got into a situation where we lost Havertz and Jesus, isn't picking up the slack, then we're going to have to go to what? And make some sort of a makeshift solution of trying to use Trossard there.
I'd go with Trossard.
I'm not saying that he might not be able to get a few results, but that's not really where you would pick him to be starting if everybody was fit. Do you know what I mean?
For me, if Havertz has a suspension or is injured, I'm going with Trossard in that number 9 position.
We have to. We haven't got anybody else.
And then after that,
other than Jesus
after that, you know what I mean? But I take your point. I understand. I agree with you. There may be a point in time where we have an injury or two, and let's remember that happened recently against Tottenham in the North London derby, where we had. Who do we have? We had Partey and Jorginho, I think it was, as our midfield, whereas you would like it to be Rice and Marino in there, It's always, as Canterbury Gunner really says here, it's always risky to change a winning starting lineup in the Premier League. Yesterday was proof again. What you really would want really is for somebody like Gabriel Jesus to come in and stake a claim for his place. We trusted you to start a game, Gabriel Jesus. Do something. Make a goal, make an assist somewhere. Raheem Sterling, I know he's contributed, and these players will contribute, but you just need a little bit more when our first choice players are probably sitting on the bench, the likes of Martinelli and Trossard sitting on the bench watching things happen. You'd like sometimes for them to have an actual day off, and for Sterling and Jesus come in and not just take the minutes, but actually score a goal and make it comfortable for us. So second half, like I said, Stan, I didn't have many notes from the first half. I did feel that the referee was allowing Southampton to be slightly over physical, in my opinion, but that's just my subjective opinion on that. That maybe some refs, they allow the plucky relegation fodder to be a little bit more physical with us. Once or twice, pulling out of Saka, fouling him. There was a lot of arm pulling going on. A couple of very minor calls for penalties, but not really what you call stone cold penalty anymore. And we go into the second half, and Southampton, this seems to happen. Well, it's happened to Arsenal. I'm not going to say it happened consistently, but Southampton were pushing, weren't they, in the early stages of the first half for that goal? We had a scare or two, right?
Yeah, and I think Sterling, he started the game very well, I felt, but he started to fade.
Yeah,
in the second half.
So there was a couple of incidents. One where Dibley got past Calafiori, and it was a deflected cross through Gabriel Megale's legs, and the player just got a shin to it, just went over the bar. Raya would have been stranded. I think they had hit the upright, just the base of the upright as well, before they actually scored. Now, you mentioned Raheem Sterling. He and Rice are actually fighting for that ball, and Rice leaves it to Sterling. But Sterling gets caught in possession, and again, it's debatable if that's a foul leading up to the goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Sterling's always been a player that, for me, always looks like he plays for himself. And he's going to have to learn that at Arsenal we play as a team.
Yeah, that's a good observation.
And in a situation like that, you can't be fighting your own player for the ball, right? You've got to know what it is the right thing to do in that situation. So I think this is something that Sterling's going to have to learn. The mentality is different here than it is perhaps at Chelsea.
Yeah, it's the kind when you're growing up as a kid, you're playing football. Sometimes you do that to your teammate. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm having the ball. It seemed a bit like that, didn't it?
Yeah, and then if you remember on the last podcast, we were talking about Man United, and I was talking about how they play and when they were trying to chase back, how Garnacho just took a few strides,
Yeah,
and then just gave up the chase and thought, well, somebody else is going to clear that up at the back. I saw Sterling do that in a couple of games back as well, where it was a similar situation where he came on for us and he gave up. He gave up the chase, and again, that he's going to have to learn that at Arsenal you don't do that. You know, you only have to look at somebody like Gabriel Martinelli and the effort that he puts in on the defensive side. You know, he's going to have to learn that if he wants to start in that left-hand position, he's also going to have to work equally as hard on the defensive side as well. Because that's what we're about at Arsenal. We all play for each other. It's a team.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation. And really said that wasn't a foul. Sterling had a poor touch. Yeah, I'll tend to agree, and I'll tend to say it wasn't a foul. It was a tackle that he came out second best in. And I think Alonso mentioned this, which makes a cautionary note in my mind, you know. That long ball that was played up toward the striker isolated Saliba. And that was a little bit what Jamie Vardy had done for Leicester City in the same kind of area of the field. Saliba got himself a little bit isolated with the striker. Both of them led to goals in the end. I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to say I'm a little bit disappointed in Saliba that the next thing he needs to learn is to show a player to the byline instead of showing them inside. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I do know what you mean, but the way he does that, he does let them sometimes show them inside instead of trying to cut down the space and keep them over towards the byline.
Yeah.
But I mean, the way that we play it, you know, people say that we sometimes in certain aspects of the game, it's about high risk and reward. You know, and when we are having a lot of players pushed up and we don't leave many back, that is the risk. And if they do manage to pop one out and start a play going, this is those situations where players like Sterling have to make sure that they're coming back now to help to become part of the defensive unit and not just wait. You know, run to the halfway line and just think, oh, fuck it, the defence will clear it up. And I'll wait here and see if the ball comes back to me. You got to get in there. You got to get back and get in there.
Get back in there, yeah. So I never really noticed that about Sterling, but now you've mentioned it, I'll be watching a little bit more for that. The all for one, feeling like playing for himself in a way, you know what I mean? He needs to switch from the Chelsea mindset, the Man United mindset to an Arsenal mindset there. But yeah, if you show Saliba, that's the next step he needs to take, is to actually defend in those one-on-one situations and show the player, because you're going through to the byline, you're either minimizing the shot percentage chance on the left foot or a cross where there's no other player. He's got to check back out and look for a player on the sideline somewhere as that striker. Not taking anything away from the finish. It was a really, really good finish past Raya on his right foot.
Yeah, can't take nothing away from that. It was a good, decent goal.
And then sort of we're all thinking the permutations, right? What if we lose this game? What if we only draw here? We need 2 goals now to win. And can't let Liverpool and City get ahead too far. The other thing as well, Stan, this is the game before an international break, so it's important not to drop any points again, you know?
And when they scored, when Southampton scored their first goal, I was more of, well, I don't know if Southampton are going to be able to score another one. However, we need to now go and score 2. And that's where I was a little bit concerned. At that point, are we going to be able to get it in the back of the net twice? Once ain't going to be good enough. You know, a draw at home would be 2 points dropped against Southampton.
Yeah, it would be one of those like a Fulham from last season.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, 2-2 would be bad. So I was thinking we were a little bit complacent in that moment when we conceded that goal. You know, sometimes 11 players turn up on the field, and let's say it's me, right? I'm Martinelli. I'm like, well, I'm just going to turn in a performance here, and someone else will, you know, bring home the bacon. someone else's score, and we'll be all right. I'll get my win bonus, and Gary's probably screaming somewhere if he's watching this now. All 11 players have to be performing at 100%. But I don't think it actually happens like that in a full season. Some players, like they're powering down a little bit. They take the foot off the gas. I just felt we were a little bit complacent, or we thought we'd pick up 3 points easily here.
I don't know if we were complacent. I just think that it was up until that point, it was difficult for us to break down Southampton, and we had to try and find a way. But we did. I mean, they weren't ahead for that long, were they?
No. It would be, I think, 4 minutes, 3.5 minutes.
So, good response.
A good response. And I'll tell you what, listen, I've been looking at Kai Havertz and I've been liking what he's done for us this season, but I've always wanted him to really score a real striker's goal. Do you know what I mean? Like You take the ball and you cut inside and you just hit a powerful shot that's unstoppable. And that's kind of what he did off a quick transition there in 58 minutes.
I'm really hoping that he can build on the figures that he put in last season, because at the beginning of the season, it was very barren for him. And a lot of people are worrying, whether we've made a ricket even bringing him into the club. But the numbers that he finished on, if he can continue to get past 15 goals this season, then maybe he is the one. He seems to sort of really gel with this team, and he's become a real focal point and become really important in everything that we can do. I've always felt that he's still a little bit streaky, as I've kept on saying. I want to see him get braces. I want to see him score in consecutive games.
Yeah.
And maybe that's going to come.
Yeah.
But I mean, the contrast between him and Gabriel Jesus at the moment, it's a big. There's a big gulf between.
Huge.
Yeah. And that's concerning because Kai Havertz is going to need rest at some point. He's not going to he's not going to be able to play. A weekend game, a Champions League game, and then play another. You know what I mean? All of the time.
Yeah, and that's why we need players like Sterling and Jesus. They're an upgrade on Reece Nelson and Eddie Nketiah. You wouldn't say right now a huge upgrade, but
you'd think, right? You'd think that would be
on paper you'd say they're upgrades on Reece Nelson and Eddie Nketiah. We'd just like to see more proof of that. Kai Havertz, I think there's news that he's pulled out of the international breaks. There's a knee injury. I'm really hoping it's just like a precautionary thing. It's just like a
sorry?
Kai Havertz. There's
Okay.
news of a knee injury that he had to withdraw from the German squad for these 2 games coming up, these international games. So he's got a couple of weeks. Maybe he can get some treatment.
Did he actually leave join the German squad, or did they contact him and say that he won't?
I think they contacted them and said he wouldn't be traveling.
Okay. I wonder how serious that injury is.
Yeah. Listen, I
wonder
really.
I wonder if it's an Alex Ferguson style of injury or fungal.
You do want that. He's got a knee injury. It's like turn the page of the book and page 7 says knee injury. That's what we'll go with this week, Kai. Tell the German Federation that you got a knee injury and you need to stay back for the duration. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this all happened by the anticipation from Bukayo Saka intercepting what was a pretty telegraphed, pass, and a quick transition to Kai Havertz. He takes it inside, shoots it right off the post, and Ramsdale had no chance with that one.
Yeah, good goal. Very good goal.
As you say,
it's kind of a proper striker's goal as well.
Proper striker's goal. It kind of like you'd see Alan Smith scoring those kind of goals back in the day. You know what I mean? And your words are always ringing in my mind sometimes, Stan, in terms of Kai, go and get me a second one now, Kai, so I can talk to Stan tomorrow about a brace. Well, it wasn't going to happen, but so then on 60 minutes we bring 3 substitutes on. We're 1-1. The game's back on for us. We can go and get 3 points. And Mikel Arteta brings Martinelli on for Sterling, Trossard on for Jesus, and Mikel Merino for Jorginho. So we're going full pelt here now for the win.
Yeah, it's good to see Mikel Merino starting to earn his stripes in an Arsenal kit. I thought he looked okay. Nothing special. It didn't look out of place. He's still trying to find his feet.
Yep.
So and it was good to. Yeah.
I feel like he's like, oh, I don't want to get in the way. Like he knows he's the new kid on the block, and he knows he hasn't got like that repetition and rhythm with other players. When you're playing in a position, you got triangles of players around you that you have to form relationships and understandings with.
He's probably not even halfway reading through the playbook yet.
Yeah.
He's probably still on chapter 6 or something like that. And there's probably a lot. It's probably like the book's probably like 3 telephone directories big.
Yeah,
you can imagine that shit. You know what I mean?
You can imagine he just sat down to sign his contract, right? He's there with Edu and Arteta. They take all the pictures, they sign everything. Next thing, Edu goes to this cabinet, or Arteta goes to this
filing cabinet.
He opens it up and takes slams something down that's like 16 inches thick. There you go. Slams down on the desk. Dust in the air. Get through all of that.
Probably when he goes to bed at night, he probably has cassette tapes that he has to listen to on his headphones, and it's probably like Mikel Arteta's voice talking about patterns of play and what to do in certain places and certain areas, and that he's
waking up in his sweat,
subliminally in his sleep. Yeah.
Waking up in his sweat.
But for Martinelli as well, good to see the way that he's trying to work his way back into a starting place.
Yeah,
off of the bench.
Yeah,
and I think he's probably looking ready to start again. To be honest, last couple of games now, he's starting to find his groove a little bit.
I don't think Arsenal can win a league or do anything significant without Martinelli hitting at least 10 goals this season. I think it's that important. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Everyone knows what Erling Haaland can do for Man City. We need to do the same thing by a group of players, and that group has to include the likes of Martinelli on the left-hand side, because we're pretty heavy on the right. Let's say you could say Bukayo Saka and Havertz are going to chip in. You know what I mean? We need Martinelli to do his part, and I think when questions were being asked, he sort of answered the call. Against Leicester, he got off and running with that first goal. This one was the kind of goal Martinelli was scoring a few seasons ago.
Yeah, and we do look very top heavy on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
You'll see the ball over that area of the pitch for long periods of time, and it's almost like we forget that we have a left-hand side. And that's probably because we're not settled over there quite as much yet. We had Sterling in there, and that was his first start.
Do you know...
we've not really, when we play in our usual formation, we haven't nailed down a left 8 yet. Not seen anything regular there. Do you know what I mean? We were having to chop and change a little bit at left back. Calafiori is only just coming in now and getting his grounded. So it's kind of like it's not evenly balanced yet.
Yeah,
we're still I think a little bit top heavy on the right, and the play goes a lot through the right. We're kind of reliant. We know that we can do good things there, but we've got to balance it out.
What I noticed,
if we notice that we're doing that, then the opposition has also noticed that that's what we're doing.
I think there's a definite ploy to give Saka as much ball as possible. I think it's a definite thing. You kind of see some of the players, they don't want to. It's almost like they don't want to take that responsibility on. They know Bukayo Saka is probably the best player on that side, and so you see somebody like Calafiori, or you see somebody like Trossard. They want to give the ball to Saka And it's kind of like, go on then, create something for us. You know what I mean? We maybe lean in heavily on Saka. And of course, he's coming through with the goods, 2 assists today and a goal also, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, that's what they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be feeding him, right? Because he's one of our best outlets. As you said, he got 2 assists and a goal.
Yeah.
You know, I want him to start hitting them like Mohamed Salah numbers on that right hand side.
Yeah.
You know, where he's almost as lethal as having a top-notch centre forward, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like if he takes the field, you know, you're already a goal up. You can like put him down for a goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like penalty taken, you're going to take a penalty. Well, you enter the field, you've got a goal or you've got an assist already on the books. You know what I mean? Each and every game. Yeah. But what a great cross for him. I had no doubt that it was onside, but VAR, and there must be something wrong with the signal. You know, the internet signal between the Emirates and VAR, because it takes twice as long to confirm anything at the Emirates than it does in any other club, any other grounds in the country, you know?
Yeah. And what I liked about that goal, Martinelli had to make up so much ground.
Yeah.
To get there.
Yep.
You know, which just shows you how much he wants it.
I remember he scored a similar goal against Aston Villa a couple of seasons ago against Emi Martinez at the time, but this is one where he got on the end of it, and it's not easy to get on the end of that ball and control it and keep it on the ground and guide it into that near post.
Straight through Ramsdale's legs.
Yeah, everything happened so fast. Ramsdale couldn't react to it. Perfect ball. Mourinho was there trying to get on the end of it. Maybe took one eye off of things for Ramsdale. But 2-1 up, Martinelli scores again, second league game running. And just a side note, going back to Kai Havertz, I think that's he's scored 7 goals now consecutively at home. And that equals the record from Robin van Persie, I believe.
Yeah. I think the record is actually 8, and there's a few names. I think Thierry Henry is one of the names. And then there's some other names which are players from yesteryear.
The next home game will be Liverpool. When we come back from the international break, it's going to be Bournemouth away, and then we got Liverpool at home toward the end of this month. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, Kai can register another goal. But then right at I guess, when was it? 88 minutes. We sealed the deal with Bukayo Saka, the kind of thing we want Bukayo Saka to do. He's great giving assists, pinpoint crosses to for corners, pinpoint crosses for goals, great passes. He's been a little bit of an assist machine, so it's nice for him to get on the end of something and have a really nice finish past Ramsdale for the 3rd goal stand.
Isn't that also consecutive goals for him as well in games now? I think he
Could
scored
be.
in the last game. He scored in the last game, right?
He scored in the last game. Yep.
So yeah, good to see.
This came from a through ball through the center, and Trossard's trying to get on the end of it. Being a nuisance, really, Leandro Trossard. We want him to do that. And the ball breaks to Bukayo Saka. A great finish past Ramsdale for 3-1. 3-1, 3 points. And that's a good way to sign off now for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we've got the international break coming up, so it's good to leave on a high.
Brownie has got a headache from last night. All right, lads, big headache after too much partying yesterday. Get some of that coffee and some of that avocado toast into you. If we have to extend, here's a good question, Stan. If we have to extend Partey or Jorginho's contract, who would you pick? I think I know who you'd pick.
Jorginho.
Yeah, that's what I thought you would pick, Jorginho. You never quite know what you have left. Partey's like that car that the What's the thing for the petrol meter? You know how much petrol's. You never know. That's broken. You never know how much petrol is in the tank with Thomas Partey.
Yeah.
And you don't know if there's some dirt in the line. You know, you get some sediment at the bottom of the tank or something. It's not gonna run really well. It'll run. But it won't get you there fast. You know what I mean? We should have given one area more minutes, says Michael. Throw in the questions and comments if you want, people as well. Calafiore's tackles yesterday were a thing on beauty. Sterling looked like he was rushing everything, not found the right tempo, and Jesus just stunk up the box. Kai would have had a goal in the first half if Jesus wasn't in everyone's way. Yeah, so listen. I think in every squad there's always going to be some issues, right? Every squad, even for rivals, they got players they're not really in love with. But we have a few of them in Arsenal as well. I think playing in midfield of Mourinho, Partey, and Jorginho with Rice and play Odegaard as a wide playmaker on left would be good. I think that's a little bit too much, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Mourinho, Partey or Jorginho. So Mourinho, let's say Jorginho with Rice and play Odegaard as a wide playmaker. I
always like to have players playing in their best positions if I can. And for me, Martin Odegaard's best position is centrally. Yeah, I agree. And then you're denying yourself a Trossard or a Martinelli on the left if you do that. I think you're moving too many pieces around. Yeah. Retro rewind. I think you're moving too many pieces around. Definitely. So yeah, that's what I was saying, Stan, when it comes to Martinelli is I think we need Martinelli to keep providing, and as you said, keep with the work rate as well. You know. Yeah, I think he's earned a start now for the next game. You know, I think he should go back into the starting lineup. Let's go back. Did you see any of the games this morning? No. Apparently Tottenham contrived to mess a 2-0 lead, and we're beaten 3-2. Danny Welbeck scored the winning goal. Oh, good. That was something. I'll be looking forward to watching Match of the Day 2 later. Then I have to catch up with it as well because Andrew's post game interview was absolute gold on a Sunday evening. Medal yellow, first red. Medal yellow, first red. Okay. I'll have to figure out what that means, really. Yellow, first red. The other thing is Ten Hag got a draw with Aston Villa, 0-0. I'm happy with that in the sense that, you know, they'll keep going with the Ten Hag project, at least till Christmas time. I don't think they can change anything there. Because they made a decision to stay with him. You know what I mean? He's just put pen to paper, hasn't he? Yeah. I mean, I don't know how long that contract was for, 2 years maybe. But, I mean, they've dug themselves a hole now. And, you know, managers have that miraculous thing where you don't just get 2 weeks' notice. And like the rest of us in the real world, they get their whole contract paid up. Yeah. I mean, it's a win-win. It's a win-win, isn't it? They can't really do anything until December. Manchester United are going to keep limping on until December at least, because you can't give Ten Hag two more years, as you said, whatever it was, and then expect to just fire him 2 months into the league season. Even if the right thing to do is to get rid of him now and to just cut your losses, it just makes them look really inept then for giving him a contract just so recently ago. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. You're like, you had no doubts in your mind then when you gave him that contract just some months ago, and now you're pulling the trigger on it. You know? Yeah. So they've got to suck it up for a bit longer. They're clicking on. I do think Chelsea might be the best of the rest in terms of finishing in fourth place, but there is they drew today against Nottingham Forest. I'm giving the results away a little bit here, but you'll be able to catch everything. I saw the results. I looked at my phone. I did see the results. Yeah. I thought Chelsea would actually take care of Nottingham Forest. So
These are
I did.
teams that we know what it's like.
Points. It's upsetting.
Yeah.
A lot of these teams are still susceptible to dropping points, aren't they? Your Tottenhams, your Chelseas, your Man Uniteds.
Yeah, and the way I see it, there's 3 teams at the top. It'll be, Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, whatever order it finishes in. We're hoping, obviously, Arsenal. It's got to be that time for Arsenal, and I think we're developing. And as I said earlier, I think we're starting to hit our stride now. There's no way you can start the Premier League 100% perfect, like on full burners, because you won't last the whole season. And that's something that Man City have been good at in previous years. And we've come to learn this a little bit. I think Mikel Arteta, judging by yesterday's lineup, needs to rotate players a little bit. And, we were a little bit lucky in the sense that we were able to bring three players on and get a 3-1 win at the end of the day. It's not always going to happen like that, but against a team like Southampton playing at home, you should be able to do that.
Yeah, you're right, but I just worry long term. It's a big concern for me that our squad isn't big enough to cope with the whole league. I just think in some areas we're so fragile.
Yeah.
And players that are deemed to be a number 2, for me should be further down the pecking order, but there is no one else, so they have to be a number 2.
Yeah.
In certain positions, it just worries me. But I'm just going to try and enjoy it week by week.
Yeah,
and hopefully keep chalking off the wins.
Would you put Tomiyasu in that, like alongside Jesus, in that way of thinking? You know what I mean? If we have to play Tomiyasu over a Ben White, I'd feel a little bit more comfortable with that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you're bringing up Tomiyasu, but Tomiyasu, Jesus, and Thomas Partey are 3 players that are prone to break down at any moment, it seems.
Yeah.
And they're players that can't seem to find any kind of a rhythm because they're either working their way back from an injury, so you're never going to be in your full health, and then you pick up another injury and you're out again. And Tomiyasu, Gabriel Jesus, and Thomas Partey, all 3 of them seem to be in that camp, and it's a shame because I think Tomiyasu is a really good player when he's able to play, and he can help us out in a number of positions. Thomas Partey on his day can be a wonderful player as well. But again, with Thomas Partey, we never know which one's going to turn up. Is it the one that's going to be bad on the transition? It looks like his legs are about to go at any minute. Or is he going to have a wonderful game and, help hold the midfield together? And it must be worrying for the manager. I suppose the manager sees him more close doing training and everything during the week. But, on match day, you need everybody to be able to perform at their best. And those 3 players seem like they're not able to get any rhythm in their games.
And
nice to see that Tomiyasu been to their hairdressers, while he was off.
Has he?
He's got blonde hair now. You not see that? He's got blonde hair.
Yeah, I did see the blonde. Yeah, I did. It's the Ben White effect. Stan, it's the Ben White effect, right? He goes to the hairdresser and says, "I'll have whatever Ben White had."
Yeah, I'll have whatever Ben
had. Yeah. So listen, just when we come back from this international break now, and we won't have a Thursday night forum because there's no game next weekend. Yeah. So give you a night off, Stan. You know what I mean?
Okay, good.
We come back with Bournemouth away, which will be a little bit of a tricky game, but nothing that we shouldn't be able to overcome. Do you think we play differently away from home? Sorry.
Well, it's going to depend on the state of players coming back from international duty as well. We have no idea what that's going to do to our team, right?
Yeah.
Has Thomas Partey gone away?
I'm sure he will be. I just heard about Kai, so are you going to check it out or no? Yeah, he probably will go away. You know what I mean? That's the main one you're worried about is Thomas Partey.
Well, just a number of them, right? Or any of our players really that go away in friendlies can, something can happen to them. And we have so many players that are important to us. Something happens to Saka or Declan Rice. You know.
Yeah, can you imagine? Like, maybe
You just said
was
that.
it
You
the
just said
last?
that there could be something wrong with Kai. Let's hope it's more. It's more of a ploy to sort of like try and keep him safe. But if he does pick up an injury, then what are we going to do? Long term, it's just frightening.
Yeah, because
in ways of, I'm not saying that we can't get results, but in ways of consistency.
Yeah.
Getting consistent results, which is what you need to win this league. If you want to catch Man City.
What you're telling, so you're giving me food for thought, and I'm not thinking good things, because what happened on the last international break was Martin Odegaard, right? And I know
exactly.
you always see Arsenal fans saying, "Oh, we shouldn't be sending them away," but my counter to that would be you can get injured, getting out of bed tomorrow morning. You could get injured, but it does seem to be the case where you travel. You're traveling, you play a game. Maybe you're putting a little bit more fatigue in your body when you're traveling and playing the game as well. It's
I would imagine if you're an international player and one that's an important part of your international team, where if you're a captain or that you're one of the mainstays, you want to play international football. That's the pinnacle, isn't it? From their sides, from what they're doing, it's. To us it might be like they're going away to play these meaningless friendlies, but at the other side of it, an international team, they need to train together. They need to understand and work on things. I'm not really an international football person myself. To me, it gets in the way, but I can understand that players are going to want to go and play for their country. Right?
It's for me, it's become less and less, and it's probably a lot of it has to do with Ireland becoming worse and worse as the years have gone by. You know what I mean? Really said Timber has not joined the Dutch team as well. Mourinho will probably go and for Spain, go and play for Spain, which he's just come back, so it might be a good thing. It might be a good thing for him to go and get some more rhythm, get some more play. So it will be beneficial.
And also
to him.
as well, on the England side of it, Lee Carsley looks like someone who wants to take a look at players. I think he already knows who the main boys are, but he looks like he wants to have a look at other players close up. So maybe someone like a Declan Rice doesn't have to play every single minute of both of those games, because Lee Carsley wants to rotate, give other players an opportunity so that they feel involved, but also for him to understand, okay, who's my backup to this player? What are they like? Am I going to be able to count on these players by giving them minutes? That can help us. For example, he knows that in a international tournament, Saka's going to be one of the first names that he's going to put down on his list. Maybe he wants to have a look at a Bowen, or give Cole Palmer an opportunity. And he doesn't need to play Saka for every minute of those two games in friendlies.
Yeah, I saw something where maybe they want to try him at Cole Palmer, a left back. I couldn't really believe that myself. The same way you put Bukayo Saka there, a left back, and he'll do a job for you. When it comes to international football, we, as you said, we understand the players want to represent their countries. In terms of Martin Odegaard, for sure, he wants to represent his country, and because he's a captain of his country, he feels that responsibility. Well, if I don't turn up, irrespective of my own fitness levels right now, how can I expect other international teammates to be there as well? It's got to set an example as well. And these international setups, they don't get that much time together. So to work on set pieces, to work on things, they need that time as well. It's just that us looking at Arsenal, Stan, we want them all home and rested and ready for the next big one for us, which is Bournemouth away from home. So the remainder of this month, right? We've got this international break, and then we come back, I think, on the 19th or the 20th. It's Saturday the 19th it's in lunchtime kickoff, I think it is, actually. and
Oh, great! That'd be
it's
4 o'clock in the morning here. Then.
well, no, it's a 12:30 here, so it'll be 9:30 for you.
Oh, 9:30. Okay.
For you.
I thought you meant
So
lunchtime kickoff in England.
You don't like them because it's too early
No,
for you, right?
It's very too early. It's like 4:30 in the morning here.
Yeah. So it's it's going to be an evening game in England. It's going to be the 12:30. It'll be the 5:30 game in England. Under lights, probably. Bournemouth away from home. We have to then pick up home points against Shakhtar midweek on the 22nd. So that'll be an important one for the Champions League. We just got out of Thursday night forum talking about the Champions League and the need to grab as many points as possible because you get to match day 6 or 7. You don't want to be outside of the 8th place. You'd rather be in 8th place looking to maintain your position rather than scrambling to get in there. Okay, we know that you're going to go into a playoff if you're outside 8th place, but that's a playoff that you do not want to be part of. It's another 2 games in January, February. So it's 5:30 UK time, Stan. So I'll be 9:30 your time.
Good.
So, and then we come back toward the end of October with that home game against Liverpool, which will be important in the league, and then a chance to get into a quarterfinal in the Carabao Cup against Preston North End away from home in the round of 16. So we beat Preston, we go into a quarterfinal in the Carabao Cup. In a year that many Arsenal fans and many pundits say Mikel Arteta needs to win a trophy.
Yeah, with those fixtures that you just laid out, I want to see us be able to rotate at home to Galatasaray and still be able to win that, so that we have a fresh team. Shakhtar, and so that we have a fresh and ready to go team, the best that we can put out against Liverpool.
Yeah, that's going to be important because Liverpool will likely be a point ahead of us if we maintain our positioning with Bournemouth. You know what I mean? And much like February, that'll be a game for the top of the league. Who goes top? If we win at home to Liverpool, we go ahead of them on points and assume the lead of the Premier League. Like I said, Preston North End, I know it's the Carabao Cup, but I think it's important to go far in cup competitions as well. And I know that you're worried about you just stated you're worried about the injury possibilities within this season. Yeah. I think we can sign off pretty soon unless you got anything else to bring or mention. Yeah. It was
basically covers it.
Yeah, it was one of those games yesterday that did you feel the urgency that we needed to win these? We need to win these games.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I was consistent, right?
As we went into the second half, I was starting to think to myself, like, they're leaving it a bit late here.
Yeah.
We need to put a stamp on us. We can't lose stupid points to Southampton. No disrespect to Southampton, but if dropping points, this would have been unacceptable. For what it is that we're trying to do.
You and I have been, watching Arsenal for a number of years now, and when we think back on this, I'll think of like a brilliant sunny day at the Emirates, where Arsenal put a performance in to win, to turn a 1-0 deficit into a 3-1. When you used to watch those video or DVD compilations of the whole season, and maybe Martin Tyler is like narrating it, this would seem like in the highlight reel a title-winning performance. You know what I mean? Arsenal go goal down, but then turn it on to score 3 and take 3 important points at home to Southampton. That's kind of how I'm going to remember it.
Yeah, going down to 10 men away at Man City as well, and still managing to come away with a point.
Yeah,
it could also be looked at as maybe a title-winning performance, I think.
Yeah. So
we're a long way off. We're a long way off.
We're a long way off from a title-winning performance. We're a long way off from. Can we start talking about Invincibles yet, or no? We could be invincible, Stan. Just tell me to stop talking like that.
Yeah, stop talking.
Get a grip, right? Get a grip, right? Let's go and get that top spot now, says Riddy. Yeah, against Liverpool would be nice. After Liverpool, we have 4 away games straight. I see on my timeline some Liverpool supporters trying to say that Van Dijk and Konate are a better partnership than Gabriel and Saliba. Well, Liverpool haven't played anyone above 11th place yet. I'll just leave it right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
7 games in, they haven't played anyone in the top half of the table yet. And yes, you got to win. You got to win what's put in front of you. And Liverpool have done that. They lost 1 game against Nottingham Forest, but we got some symmetry to our W's and D's here. 2 W's, 1 D, a W in the middle, another draw at Man City, and then 2 wins against Leicester and Southampton. And this is where the fixtures are a little bit more kind to us right now. But really did say that after Liverpool, we do have 4 straight away games straight. And part of that will be, that's Newcastle away. So, yeah, let's really quickly, Stan, I know we're winding down. I'll let you go in a few minutes. But Thierry Henry last week said, this Arsenal side needs to go and win at Inter Milan in the Champions League. And that's fine. I'd love Arsenal to make a statement like that in the Champions League. But that's a midweek game in between away to Newcastle and away to Chelsea. That's a tough.
We do really well away from home in the league. We got records, right?
We do.
I think we had a record up until the Man City game of never going behind in an away game. I don't know how long it was. It was like
10 games, I think. It was 10 games, something like that,
very
right?
long time. So yeah, I'm not bothered about the away games in the league. I'm more bothered about the away games at places like San Siro, where we haven't had that experience yet.
Okay. Yeah. I've got a banner here that says, Saka and Martinelli to improve again. Martinelli magic and Saka superlative, but should be rotated also. And that's kind of what we need for Arsenal to be successful. We need Bukayo Saka on one side and Martinelli on the other. So let's stay humble out there. As Erling Haaland says, let's stay humble out there. Stan, any final thoughts? We'll bid our way, bid our farewells.
No, I'm good, thanks, man. I'm good. Enjoyed chatting with you. Thanks to everybody that popped in the chat box. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share.
Is it getting cold there?
Yeah, it's a bit mild this morning. Yeah, I want to get inside now.
Okay. You'll be moving indoors. Yeah. Okay. Want to get inside our Scottish. Thanks for being here, Stan. Alonso, I hope Martin Truex is somewhere in the top 6. I should wait for Alonso's tweets about frustration of Martin Truex doing things he doesn't want him to do. Haaland hasn't scored since that comment. Exactly, Riddy. Stay humble, Erling Haaland. He hasn't scored since that comment. All right. Take care, gents. Great to see you guys. Thanks as always. There will not be a Thursday night show. We'll be back on next Sunday, okay? Stan, take care of yourself.
Yeah. See you next Sunday.
Till we talk again. Take care.